Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you live from CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference. Amity Shlaes is with me. She's a senior fellow and director with the 4% Project at the George W. Bush Institute and the author of the new book, Coolidge, 4 Weeks on the New York Times bestseller list in the top 10. That's a major accomplishment. Congressman Paul Ryan says this book is a must-read. Coolidge, of course, about Calvin Coolidge. Amity Shlaes, SHLAES.com is your website. And welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, Amity. My take on Calvin Coolidge was always that he was the guy between Harding and Hoover. That Harding came in 1920 on a platform of less government in business, more business in government, dropped the 91% tax rate down to 25%, kicked off this huge bubble that burst in 1927, the property bubble and the stock bubble that burst in 29, and that Coolidge was kind of in the middle of that and kind of slept through his administration. What am I completely missing about that storyline?
The story's a little different, but Coolidge did come in the 20s after Harding. It was actually Coolidge who got the tax rate down to 25.
What was it when he came into office?
Well, when Harding came into the office, it was going down from 70 to 50 area, then to 40, and then to 25. That was the final success, which is lower than Ronald Reagan. And I think there's a very... there's no case to be made that tax rate caused the Great Depression. So
why not?
Why not? Because low taxes don't cause the Great Depression.
But if you look at the history of the 20th century, every time the top tax rate went below 50%, it was followed by a bubble and a boom because money was cheap.
Well,
so money got hot, and money then starts getting really. You look at the velocity of money in marketplaces; it radically tracks dropping tax rates.
But in the 20s, they had deflation, which doesn't fit in your picture. They had high stock prices went up, but every other area of the economy, prices went down. So I don't, another argument for low taxes is people get to keep their money so they use it more productively, and it's less silly money than we have now where it's all politicized.
Well, let's separate taxes on working people from taxes on the investor and speculator class.
They cut both, actually, in the 20s.
Yeah, I guess, shoeshine boys were getting involved. That's why Joe Kennedy got out of the market.
I mean, there's so many myths to unpack about the 20s and 30s, and you just threw out like 6 of them, and they're all ones we all learned. But in my work as a historian, I found that many of them aren't quite right. And in the 30s, I wrote Forgotten Man book, which is about the 7 things that made the Depression great, and none of them started with C. None of them was Calvin Coolidge.
So what did Coolidge do right?
What did Coolidge do right? He saw that if you pull the government back, the economy can grow. So today, right in the conversation, you hear President Obama saying, well, austerity, might be bad, or deficit budget balancing per se is bad.
But I've looked at year-by-year annual, inflation-adjusted expenditures, and I don't recall that the size of government actually shrank during the Coolidge administration.
Yes, it actually did, literally. I mean, if you want to know one...
As a percentage of GDP?
Oh, that's even silly to do that in dollar numbers. That is, you can say, of course, as a percentage of GDP, because GDP grew in real terms under Coolidge.
Right.
But let's set that aside and talk real simple and say, was the number lower when he left office than when he came in? He came in 23 and he left in March 29. And the number was actually lower, even though the population and the economy grew. Was that real, or was that inflation?
Well, he didn't leave in 29.
Yes, he did, sir.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yes, he
I'm
did.
sorry.
He left
Thank
in
you.
March 29. So,
right.
I don't mean to...
Just
these are all the myths. This is a conversation we're all having nationally. What happened? And
but that was a year and a half into a massive housing bust. Right. The housing bust started in 27 in Florida, right?
Right, but if you look at, actually, it was also in a recession. They were raising interest rates when Coolidge was leaving. I don't know which chart you're looking at. So we're asking 2 questions. Did the 20s economic policy make an 11-year Great Depression? I would say no, sir. And then, was Coolidge great? I would say yes, sir. What Coolidge's position was, if you pull the federal government back, the private sector will grow. And that
back from what?
Back from its war size, its emergency or crisis size. So.
Oh yeah, well that makes perfect sense. We had just fought World War I, so of course the government would get smaller.
The government got. What's interesting is the government started to get smaller under Woodrow Wilson, Wilson said, war's over, we've got to get smaller. They had an enormous expansion of the government, much more than anyone had imagined.
For World War I.
World War I. And then Harding and Coolidge, Harding was elected as president in 1920 with Coolidge as his vice president, and they cut more. They cut the government in half a few years after the war. And then Coolidge cut yet more again in peacetime.
If you took defense spending out of that, would you see the government actually getting smaller?
Well, we don't have the chart here, so I don't want to answer that. But defense spending, of course, they had a peace dividend, as we used to say under President Bush, the first one. Of course they did, but they also, what I noticed in writing this book, and you really, I think, want to have a look at his story because he was so brave. Coolidge, they had an enormous progressive onslaught. Coolidge vetoed 50 bills while he was president, and they had two groups that were really seeking entitlement. So it wasn't.
And he was fighting progressive Republicans.
He was fighting his own party, and if you want, and he was the president. Said no, and we, right now in this debate here, people are saying, "Oh, you can't say no. You can't be too mean. You can't talk about the 47%, right? Oh, can't say that, right? Got to be nice." That's what the current Republican debate at this event is. Coolidge said no all the time. He wasn't nice. He vetoed 50 bills. He turned down veterans. And he turned down farmers. Those were the two entitlement groups. And yet, in 24, remember, Coolidge did have to run for president in 1924. He was vice president, became president, then he had to run. He beat the progressives and the Democrats combined, taking an absolute majority of the vote.
But isn't that, didn't and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not certainly a scholar of that point in time in history, but my understanding is that one of the reasons that Coolidge won was because the progressives in his own party were at that point starting to fracture the Democratic Party. That basically the Democratic Party and the progressives had not become a monolithic bloc against him. You had progressives in the Republican Party.
Oh yeah, that was some of it. But I mean, the whole lesson prior
he didn't win like Reagan did, as I'm a conservative, vote for me.
Oh, absolutely.
Or he did.
Absolutely. No, I'm a non-progressive Republican. That's who he was by 24. And you remember their experience of what progressives did was, which party did the progressives break? The progressives broke the GOP. That's how Teddy Roosevelt gave the presidency to Woodrow Wilson, by running as a progressive, a GOP man. So many GOP people were expected to go with the progressive. The progressives in office, the ones in the Senate, who gave Coolidge a lot of trouble over this and that, were generally Republican. Right. So it was thought that he would be broken by this strong third party, Ross Perot, with 17% of the vote. Right. And yet he took this absolute majority. And I think that's somewhat germane for today because we think if you say no, well, it's fatal, right? It's lethal. And I like that he said no. And it was because the prosperity his policy engendered was so genuine that the voters saw that.
If the Coolidge prosperity was so genuine, why did it start unraveling in 27?
In 27, Coolidge had several recessions, but they were so mild we don't remember them. What one? You want to say that? I mean, the economy goes in recession all the time.
This was a big unraveling. I mean,
you're talking about 29 or 27?
No, I'm talking about 27 when the housing bubble started bursting in Florida and then worked its way up the East Coast and across the country through 28 and into early 29.
Yeah, but if you look at overall GDP in those years, it averaged 4% real. I mean, for the 20s of the Coolidge time.
Right.
So what happened often then was things got really bad. Also in the Great Recession of the early 20s, a terrible recession where Harry Truman lost his haberdasher shop and so on, and industrial production plummeted.
This is post-World War I.
Yeah, and I'm telling you about this Great Recession, which, by the way, they called the Great Depression of the early 20s, and we have no idea what I'm talking about because we forgot it because it was so brief.
Wasn't a lot of that, though, because a lot of the machine shops and whatnot that have been producing war materials were basically they no longer had government contracts?
Exactly. No, I mean, but it was also because the Fed tightened. I mean, this was in a situation similar today, and this is not Coolidge, this is just... But it's why Coolidge is interesting. It's a different kind of economic policy. They confronted the prospect of inflation hidden, as we do now. They confronted a sense that employment wasn't certain, great uncertainty generated by a government that did wild things. And what did they do to smooth that over with normalcy even before Harding and Coolidge? They said, let's raise the interest rate almost double, and let's cut the government in half, and that will fix the economy. And it was quite painful.
Yeah.
It was very traumatic, but it worked.
What government, I mean, you're talking about big government before Coolidge. World War I was big government. You had a big defense department. But we had no Social Security, we had no social safety net programs, there was no unemployment, there was no Medicare, there was nothing for poor people.
I think that's not quite the way to see it. The way to see it is...
What did he cut?
What did he refuse? He also cut. Of course he cut. But in the war, American soldiers went to Europe, and they saw a revolution was in Europe, and they saw the social welfare state, the Bismarck Germany, right? And they saw the revolution in Russia, and maybe they spoke Russian or Polish. I mean, in Massachusetts, where Coolidge was from,
a lot of Americans were first-generation immigrants at that time.
Absolutely, Italians, stoneworkers, right? Sacco and Vanzetti, that crowd. Sure. And they came back and said, let's have a general strike in a city, and let's shut everything down. So they would make like Occupy Wall Street look like a tiny, weeny thing.
Sure.
The kind of things workers did in America at that time. And there was the expectation...
Because they wanted the right to unionize, which they were given in 1935.
Right. They wanted a lot of things, some of which
were... But Coolidge didn't want them to have the right to unionize.
Right. Some of which were legitimate, such as prices to stay stable, because after the war, prices went up, and during quite a bit, due to the government had nationalized the radio.
Oh, I'm sorry, hang on
just to answer your question.
We've just hit a break. I totally missed it. Amity Shlaes is with us, and her website, amityshlaes.com. The book is Coolidge.